Welcome back to Gaelic Games Fan TV. It is the preview show for this weekend's All-Ireland Senior Football Championship action. We've got some big games taking place this weekend, 2 provincial semi-finals. Not many games really, just 4 games in total to look forward to, and really probably only one game that really stands out on paper as a game I think that everybody will be interested in watching. It's Donegal versus Tyrone. We've got Down versus Armagh, Dublin versus Offaly, and Louth versus Kildare as well. So 2 provincial semi-finals to look forward to. Joined by Patrick Sharkey from GA Zone, obviously Donegal man and everything else, so no better man to have on the preview show for this weekend. Patrick, first of all, how's life with you? And imagine things are all rosy in the garden, being a Donegal man at the moment.
Yeah. So far, between the McKenna Cup, the league, and obviously the first one game in championship, and you don't want to get too excited, but still, we've only had one loss to Derry, and we ended up beating them in a 10 times more important game. So there's definitely a lot of positives to take and stuff but still, yeah. So I couldn't really say it there. Maybe last Saturday, I think we only won 13 out of 22 of our kickouts. There's still a few elements that we brushed up and stuff it's still a better, execution and stuff like that there. We're hoping Sean Patton's fit for Sunday and whatnot because he went off early, but hopefully everything's good and all the rest, and hopefully we can weather the storm with Tyrone.
100%, yeah, and I suppose that leads us into the first game, the big one, Dublin versus Offaly. And no, I'm only joking. We'll start with Donegal versus Tyrone. We'll get on to the Leinster Championship action a little bit later. Yeah, I suppose you mentioned the Derry game there. First of all, obviously Jim McGuinness back at the helm. We were chatting obviously earlier in the year and everything else about Jim McGuinness being back and whether he could pull off the surprise or the shock, and obviously went and done it versus Derry. It was a massive win, certainly one that not many people saw coming. But yeah, what's the thinking then going into this one? Tyrone, I suppose Tyrone are a bit of a weird one. They've been very inconsistent, very poor. But as I was saying to you off air, you just got that feeling that especially after Donegal or Jim McGuinness having that record versus Mickey Hart, it would be the most Tyrone thing ever to probably win this game, in fairness.
That the whole, Mickey Hart may have left, but there is still acute heroism about Tyrone and all the rest. They love all the tricks and stuff in the box and all the rest. You watch the game against Cavan and stuff. People said, Tyrone, they should have let Cavan back into the game and stuff. They'd such a 6-point lead at one stage. They should have maybe seen it through and all the rest. But I think it's just testament to Cavan. I've seen them, during the league and all the rest. It probably just shows the competitive element of the Ulster Championship. I definitely wouldn't be knocking Tyrone down for that game. It's the usual. If a team could put on a lesser performance and still come out as winners, it's a good sign of a team that they could do that. And it's also, it's the usual, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. So they got going.
And just on Donegal, it's been a mad sort of year really for Donegal. Obviously a year ago, beaten by Down in the Ulster quarterfinals, then obviously go and topple the reigning champions in Derry obviously last week. It's been such a quick turnaround in such a short space of time. What do you boil it all down to? Obviously Jim McGuinness is getting the plaudits, but in terms of players and everything else, because to turn it around so quickly is very impressive, I think.
It is definitely very impressive. The way Donegal has absolutely ran the show from whatnot has been really impressive. The way they exploited there's kickouts and all the rest. I just we're sweating on the fitness of Jason McGee, and all the rest, and then all of a sudden, the biggest man on the team pushed out into a number 15 position, and you're is he playing too high up the pitch and stuff but he was somewhat of a third midfielder and gave, one of his finest performances in a shirt there. We always knew that Darrell Wheel had that in him. I think, he came through in 2017 and he's been playing away for years and whatnot, and has had, a lot of 6 out of 10 performances, but that was a real 9 out of 10 performance from him. He definitely put up to the level we knew he'd have. I think ever since he got that hat-trick against Crossmaglen for Gweedore, I think we all knew that we had a star in our hands, and ever since then he's really proved himself there, and all the rest. I was thinking, that maybe they should have put a Keelan McGonigal or Thompson on Glass, because you can't be pushing Keelan McGonigal on number 6 because we couldn't let Glass run riot. But, he's a good player, Glass, one of the best footballers in the country, but whatever they done right, Glass could hardly lay a glove on us and all the rest. Like, and McGuinness putting in a stellar performance at number 6 and all the rest. Shane O'Donnell pushed into number 7, pushed down a bit and all the rest. Like, and even whatnot. And I think McCall has really grown into one of the best fullbacks in Ireland.
Yeah, like, do you reckon? Obviously, the whole talk of the town really, or the talk of the country really, was Oran Lynch and sort of how Donegal exploited the kickouts or exploited sort of Oran Lynch coming off his line and the fly goalkeeper and everything else. Like, we don't know the scenario with Sean Patton, and obviously we won't know really probably until the team gets announced, and probably even until throw in and everything else. But do you reckon that's something Donegal will target? Because we've seen Niall Morgan do that, to be fair. So, like, it could be a very similar scenario again this coming Sunday.
I think Niall Morgan will be quite wise and stuff like that. And I think when it comes to kickouts, I don't think there's a better goalkeeper in the country than Niall Morgan and all the rest. Like, I'm not expecting to repeat his heroics of Kerry of scoring from his own box and all the rest. Like, but I think he'll definitely get his kickouts right. He'll get it all the rest. Like, so I don't know and all the rest. Like, but obviously Oran Lynch, he's much better at the saving and whatnot. Like, but still, I think there's I think Tyrone won't be foolish and all the rest. I think it's there would be serious questions asked of both Fergal Logan and Brian Dooher if something that happened. I'm no problem with play keeper, but just make sure there's at least maybe 2 fullbacks or just 2 players in any position behind the goalkeeper, just in case all hell breaks loose. If Darrell Beale gets enough space and time on the ball and he doesn't cause havoc.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think that's the main thing, really. Like, and we saw time and time again. Like, I suppose Derry didn't leave 1 or 2 players back, and the space was very much there for Darrell Boyle to obviously loop him and sort of lob him from distance. Yeah, like, I mean, Patrick McBurty coming back, obviously came off the bench the last day versus Derry. Could he be back in line to start this time around? Like, it kind of is mad as well at the same time. Like, obviously Donegal with that big win versus Derry, I think people are forgetting, missing probably your best forward in Patrick McBurty. So does he come back in? Does he start, in your opinion?
I would give it a 1. If it was 2 weeks' time, I would definitely say 100% he would have definitely been back in the team and all the rest. Like, and I think he's really got a good level to him all the rest. Like, so I think he'll get more minutes on the pitch. I can tell you that. Like, he might come on earlier or whatnot. Like, but I just think with the cadet season and stuff, it's maybe not a guarantee and all the rest. Like, but if you're level with like 3 minutes to go, or you're down a point or 2 and all the rest, like, if you have a footballer that just has that odd big moment in them that will pull you out of bother, get you back in and all the rest, like, I think Patrick McBurty's got it all going for him and whatnot, and all the rest. So yeah, he's definitely brings a lot of experience, whatnot. The only remaining member of the 2012 team. So I think look, McGuinness is a plan for him and whatnot, and I think he'll be a great asset if he gets to play. But we showed there, even without Patrick McBurty, we've talent in every number, so it definitely shows that we're not going away.
Absolutely, yeah. Dublin is great, says here. Donegal and Armagh in the Ulster final. Yeah, that does seem to be the common consensus maybe going into this weekend. I've always spoken out against the fly goalkeeper, and now I have proof. Yeah, absolutely. I think anyone who was against the fly goalkeeper certainly was vindicated at the weekend. Kieran says, don't think the talk of McGuinness being a genius of figuring out how to beat Derry. The exploits were there, and what better man to exploit a team's weakness than Jimmy? Yeah, absolutely. Like, he seems to be no better man to do that, in fairness. Maybe the fact that you put in that big win and that big performance against Derry, though, it does make Tyrone probably a lot more wary. Like, I feel like Donegal were maybe a bit of an unknown quantity. Like, fair enough, you were promoted obviously from Division 2, but had a very poor year last year, whereas now I think Fergal Logan, Brian Dooher, obviously, who will be there, but like, I think Tyrone in general, Tyrone management, like, I think they'll be a lot more wise now to what Donegal bring to the table, and I think they'll be very wary of that, I think, going in on Sunday.
Well, Brian Dooher in press conferences have been saying, Donegal are the favourites by a country mile. That sounds like a bit of a Jim McGuinness style trick when it comes to the playing yourself down and whatnot. Like, and I think when they do that in all wrestling, they're definitely not the kind of team that would get ahead of them and whatnot. And I see, you see that even Callum McShane doesn't start, and you think to yourself, it's one of two things. Either the Tyrone team's so good, their forward line, that Callum McShane can't get even into it, or they're resting Callum McShane and they're releasing him for a bigger game. So it just shows you that, whatever way you look at it, Tyrone have a lot going for them, and I know, they might have, it took until the last two match days, their Division 1 status was in doubt, but whatever way you look at it, I think Tyrone have a serious outfit of a team, and I definitely wouldn't be writing them off. Look at Joey Goose, the Carrickmore man, and he's fitted in seamlessly. Like he didn't even play his role as sub and all the rest, and so a lot of that Tyrone under-20 team that won All Ireland, I think it was 2 years ago now. That team are maybe a little bit, they're not, because Donegal's under-20s took them to extra time last time round, and that Tyrone under-20 team never beat them extra time. But still, we still have young talent in both teams. But look, we'll give it a bit of time and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, like it is a Tyrone team in transition. There's absolutely no doubt about that. Gavin says here, true, but Tyrone are also battle hardened, so should be interesting. Yeah, and because that's the thing, like Tyrone, I think of 16 new players. I think Enda McGuinness said that stat in the Sunday game. 16 new players, obviously, since the 2021 All Ireland victory. So it is in many ways a brand new team. Obviously, you do still have some familiar faces, obviously, still in that Tyrone side. Obviously the likes of Matty Donnelly, Michael McKiernan are obviously still in there. I suppose Derek Hanneman was there, but he's more of a sort of mainstay in the team now. Like you've got younger lads that have obviously come in, Rory Canavan, Liam Gray, Kieran Daly have obviously come in as well. So I mean, like Tyrone are getting a lot of criticism probably like up and down the country. And what do you make of that? Like, are they as poor as maybe as what people are making out to be, or could they? Because I feel like it's a little bit sort of reminiscent maybe of 2021 a little bit, but what do you think?
Yeah. I think when it comes to that there, you'll find no bigger critics of Tyrone than Donegal people. But in all seriousness, I don't think, I think there's, I don't know whether there's still that kind of puke football mentality that, Tyrone ruined the game and all the rest, and Tyrone do this and Tyrone do that and all the rest. I think Tyrone play if their strengths and all the rest. They play if the rules and all the rest, and they could get a little bit violent. They could get a little bit, puncheristic, but it's all mind games at this stage. Like, how many times now they just play? They know how to play smart tricks and whatnot, and I think for a lot of teams, we just have to replicate their way of doing things at times, because you look at it sometimes. How many times have we seen it? When they get the extra time, when they're a point or two down, and there's 3 minutes left in the clock, but they say to end up putting in a bit of a scrap and extending out time, and then there be more than 10 minutes extra time, and then they end up getting some kind of result. It's that kind of there's such a game management about them, and I just don't know. I think it's more psychological than it is physical, but there's really is a smartness about them and stuff like, and I think, I don't know how, even if you look at their minor under-20 teams, it's like they're nearly coached from youth into to bring that to the table and stuff there, and kind of Brian Duher and what do you call Fergal Logan, I think will definitely play in Donegal there, but I don't think Jim McGuinness will have a few tricks up his sleeve and all the rest. Like, I think the advice for Donegal is if Tyrone starts a scrap, don't get involved, because the refs love to balance it out by giving cards on both sides. So I think if we can stay out of a bit of bother, I think we should finish the game with 15 men.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing, really, isn't it? We want to see a good spectacle and everything else, and hopefully there's none of that kind of carry on. Tom says, wouldn't surprise me if Tyrone win, should be a cracker. Tyrone are not bad, just inconsistent. Says Dublin is great, and Gavin says Tyrone maybe more inconsistent than poor, which is the thing. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, when they get going, they're a very, very good side.
Yeah, exactly.
Derek Hannevan, obviously in phenomenal form for Tyrone this year, 7 points the last day versus Cavan. Like, I mean, what kind of game plan could Donegal have for him? Is that maybe a job for Brendan McCall or even Kieran Moore, who, to be fair, a fullback, done a great job in there the last day?
Yeah. Kieran Moore seamlessly bought into the team and all that. I think, it's definitely something that's gonna be well thanked of. But stopping him, like, yeah, you could put him on. McManamum hasn't been playing too much, like, but he's been on the bench and whatnot, like. But if he's good enough to start, I'd put him on it. I just think when it comes to tackles and stuff, he's the best man to put on it. So now McCall's great at getting the ball out of the danger areas and pushing it up to the midfield, and keeping the calmness at the back and all the rest. Like, but if you want a man for purely man marking, I think McManamum, has you covered. That now, he might not play, but if he does play and stuff like so. But then again, I think Dark Hannivan's a great footballer, but I think he's equal to Oisín Gallen. Don't be on the screen. It could very well be a competition of who scores more between Oisín Gallen and Dark Hannivan. I think that might ultimately be the factor.
Absolutely, yeah. Especially when you look at the form of Oisín Gallen as well. Prediction wise, then you're obviously going to back Donegal, I'm sure. But what are we thinking?
2 points.
2 points. There we go. Yeah, probably I'd go with Donegal as well. I think 2 points. I think is what I'll go for. Like, does it help that this game is in Celtic Park as well? Like, obviously, fond memories of the game from last week. So just like a straight turnaround, really. I suppose that does help.
Yeah, it's sort of weird because anyone who's a geography knows that Derry City is kind of like, it's really close to the Donegal border. It's like 10 minutes to the Donegal border, and it's like 10 minutes to the Tyrone border. And most of like Derry Gales and the GA strongholds Derry are in the southern half. So in many ways, if you're West Tyrone or in a show North Donegal area, in many ways, we kind of see it as a home game, and whatnot. And to a lot of us, it's closer to us than Ballybofey or Strabane. So it's definitely something we're well used to and whatnot, and all the rest. Like, so no, it's definitely good and all the rest. But look, it's a small enough. It's a small enough pitch and stuff like which we have had problems with in the past, because we were so used to McCool Park. But I think pitch size doesn't seem to matter and all the rest. Oma's a big pitch and stuff like, and I don't know, like, some of the bigger pitches are all in Division 1, so I haven't really seen Tyrone in a smaller pitch yet, so I would give them a slight edge and stuff like. But I reckon the crowds are going to be 50-50 between Tyrone and Donegal, maybe slightly more Donegal, because you'll usually get the usual bandwagon culture out in force now once we get a half decent result. But but still I think it's definitely a perfect location for both teams, I reckon.
Yeah, Kieran says here, McGuinness would like to take down another Tyrone manager in the space of 8 days. Donegal by 4 or 6. Dublin is great, says Donegal 2-12, Tyrone 16 points. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, Donegal scoring a lot of goals, Tyrone shipping a lot of goals. 8 goals conceded in their last 2. So it does feel like goals is going to be what gets Donegal over the line. The other game in Ulster is Down versus Armagh. Armagh will obviously be going in as big favourites, given the fact that they obviously beat Down quite convincingly the last time out in the Ulster Championship in the semi-finals last year. But of course, like, Armagh going in as Division 2, or went in as Division 2 runners-up. Down obviously going in as Division 3 runners-up. Can you see any upsets or shocks here, or is it straightforward that Armagh pull off the win?
You're speaking to the man who thought that, with the way the Tailteann Cup was going and stuff, that I thought, a really good team within the bottom half of Division 2 or top half of Division 3 would have the edge to get there. And I thought, Fermanagh would have ran Armagh closer and stuff, like, because they were ran close by a lot of kind of average teams. Like, they narrowly beat Cork by a whisker and whatnot and stuff like that there. And, they couldn't get over a line against, a slightly a less workman-like Donegal team, and they've had a few problems here and there. But I think when they came out to Fermanagh and it was all guns blazing, and all right, and when we're on about players changing positions, putting Rian O'Neill, who you'd expect to be their top scorer into midfield can be a bit thing there. But still, look, he's done a good job. They're definitely going size above other things. Ethan Rafferty, whatever he's doing now, I don't know, like, but Blaine Hughes, they seem to be not playing the flykeeper and stuff. Like, it's nearly like Kieran McGuinness didn't want to get caught out there. So there's tricks there. But, and I think, I don't know whether Armagh, it was just because Antrim played a low block. But, Down, they weren't exactly convincing against Antrim. If you watch the game in the BBC, they had their own kind of problems and stuff like, and they missed a few wides here and there and stuff like. So just judging off the last two Ulster Championship games, I really just can't see past Armagh, and it's really, I know it's a rivalry, and like Newry, which is the biggest town in both counties, is split down the middle between the two counties, and I'm sure there's great atmosphere and stuff like, and I'm sure there's a lot of households in both necks that are going to be split down the middle, and there's definitely going to be an edge and stuff like, and it's probably a lot of schoolmates playing against each other and whatnot, and they always put up a good performance stuff like. But I think Armagh's going to win, but it'll be less than 5 points stuff. And I do think Down could put it in there, and the Kilcoo lads are back and stuff like. But I think Down could get Offaly give a great rattle at the Tailteann Cup, because they could feel, after a good first half performance against Meath last year, Tailteann Cup final, that they could really give a good rattle there. And I predicted Louth to win that, but we'll get to the Louth Kildare prediction and we can see what happens there. But we'll stick on it.
Yeah, it does feel like a free hit for Down in some ways. A bit like the game last year to a certain extent. Like there's no pressure really on Down. You feel like all the pressure is really on Armagh. And you feel like if Down can maybe keep this tight and keep this low score and because I think what Armagh have done quite impressively when they faced sort of lower caliber teams in Ulster or even throughout Division 2, maybe aside from the Louth game, maybe on the opening day. But they've been able to put teams away early. They were 2-2 to no score up against Fermanagh after about 15-20 minutes. And you feel like if the same happens in this game, Armagh will cruise to victory. But you feel like if Down can keep it low score and maybe channel a bit of that Kilcoo energy within their team, maybe then they have a chance. But I feel like the opening 15-20 minutes is going to be crucial.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You cannot let Armagh get an early goal and whatnot. I'm sure Stephen Campbell and Rian O'Neill are going to war and whatnot, and they'll definitely need to get things and all the rest sorted. But I just have to base things off facts, stuff like, and they're coming as Division 3 champions, and they may brought a bit of momentum from that Westmeath game and stuff, and they're placing. But they're placing the Sam Maguire hold and stuff like, maybe that's an edge. It's a bit of a, I don't want to say do or die and all the rest of it, because because in many ways, if they won the Tailteann Cup, they don't have to worry about the whole, ramifications for next season. But I still think, Conor Lafferty is definitely improved the team. I think they're definitely improving in every element and stuff like, and I think they're good and stuff, but I just can't see that. It's like, I would love to see, Down get involved and stuff like, but they've just I don't know. I like the other teams over in Kilcoo, you don't see any Down teams near the top ends of the intermediate and junior championships, and very little teams challenge them. And I think Armagh have improved as county team since Crossmaglen got a good bit less competitive and stuff, but still they have a lot of stars. Liam Kerr, Oren Sherlock, Murdoch is quite good as well. So, and you've John O'Hare, when it comes to kickouts and stuff and whatnot, and I think he's quite smart with the ball at his feet. So they've definitely a few good stars and all the rest. But Peter Fagan too, would do a good man-mark job on anyone. But I don't know, yeah.
Yeah, it's very hard to look past Armagh. In fairness, Dublin is great here. Says Armagh 214 down, 12 points. Because I suppose with Armagh, they're obviously over the bug in the camp and everything else and everything that went on there. Rian O'Neill's obviously back, Stephen Campbell's back, all the big lads are back, and you just feel like for Armagh, the big focus now is just at the very minimum getting to that Ulster final. So. I feel like get the win, get the job done, and then move on to the Ulster final.
Definitely, but I think, no Ulster final. Well, they got their first since 2008 last year. That was somewhat of a monkey off the back, all rest. But for about 10 years there was a Donegal, Derry, Tyrone. No, Donegal, Monaghan, Tyrone. Derry were Division 4, but us three were sort of the three kind of ones that were constantly in Division 1 and 2. And it was always one of us three who were going to win Ulster every year. But I think, and Armagh were really, when Armagh first came on the scene, maybe 2018, 2019, you're thinking, these are the lads to really challenge the status quo and stuff. But it's all well and good playing Division 1. It's all well and good, going deep into the All Irelands and whatnot, and being a backdoor expert and all the rest. Like, but I think you need to win an Ulster title to become the best and all the rest. Because the mad thing is, if they were in somewhere like Connacht or Munster, they probably would have a title by now. Like, but it just shows the competitive nature of Ulster and stuff. Like, but I think there's definitely pressure on McGuinness. He was only given a 1-year contract extension and stuff like, and you look at McConville doing well with Wicklow, Tony McEntee, another Cross McGlen man, doing quite well with Sligo, and Justin McNulty with Laois. Like, so there's other Armagh managers out there who are eyeing up the big job, in Armagh. So I think, it's definitely a competitiveness, and I think Kieran McGeeney, definitely won't be complacent on this, and I think he's going to play things safe. So I think it would definitely be a tough one, and I definitely wouldn't say we'd be Ulster champ. I definitely wouldn't be confident of us being Ulster champions if we faced them in the final.
Yeah, look, I mean, Armagh certainly aren't going anywhere. They'll be thereabouts in terms of making the final competitive and everything else. And yeah, I think I'll go with your prediction there as well. I'll go with Armagh to come through. I think by 4 or 5. Could very well be more, but maybe Down might make it a bit more of a game out of it. In fairness, moving across to the Leinster semi-finals, the first game up here is Louth versus Kildare. Precursor, obviously, to the big one, Dublin and Offaly. Yeah, look, Louth obviously got the better of Kildare in the league. It was only 3 points that day. Obviously, it was the final game for Kildare, and they were already relegated at that point. Like, Louth will be slight favourites given the form in the league. Kildare obviously had a very poor Division 2 campaign. How would you see this one go?
Yeah, that's a good question. At the start of the year, I said Louth were being Telch champions because I thought there would be a Division 3 relegation. I thought Kildare were going to be super strong this year after nearly beating Dublin last year and stuff like. But nearly didn't win the race, and judging by the league things, and they were probably the lesser team against Wicklow. But regardless, they still put on more points on the board, whatever way you look at it. And I think there's definitely a massive pressure on Kildare and all the rest because there's a sort of snobbery up against the Couch Cup. So I'm of a it's a choice between two teams. I think the winner will get hammered by Dublin, and the loser wins the Challenging Cup. So they'll have to weigh up their options. But I don't think there'll be anybody throwing a game and stuff like I had a lot of doubts about Ger Breddick coming in. We struggled with Moorfield, who had like 7 Kildare teams in their squad and all the rest. And I think that maybe Mickey Hart took them as far as he'd gone. Like, that's probably one of the reasons he went to Derry. But no, Ger Brennan's turned them into a steady Division 2 team and stuff like, and he's definitely got that thing there. I think if Desi Farrell steps aside, there's a job waiting for him in the capital. But I think he maybe. Yeah, I think Louth's going to have to edge just based on form and stuff. If Samuel Roy's given a free rein and stuff and all the rest, be good and stuff like. But Kevin Feely's back in business and all the rest, they've definitely pushed him forward and stuff, and that looked to have been a smart enough move by Grant Ryan in the Wicklow game. But you have to base it off, all the rest. That was their first game, their first one all season, like, against a team that has, about 3 or 4 wins and stuff like. So you're gonna have to even out and all the rest. And I think Louth are the second best team in Leinster now, and I think Kildare and me fans are gonna hurt to admit it, but it's just a unfortunate reality of it all and stuff like. And you've Niall Sharkey, you've Keegan, you've many other great footballers in Louth and stuff like, and I'm just not too sure that they could really challenge them. So I would have to go with it there and stuff like. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Louth by 3 points, give or take. So yeah, I don't know about yourself, but yeah.
Yeah, Gavin says here, I just want to say Sligo Kildare being a draw was a great call last year. There we go. We have someone who remembers one of your many predictions there from last year. Kieran says here, Louth under-20s beat Dublin last night with an impressive performance. Some lovely footballers coming through. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch it, but there certainly is something cooking in Louth. There's no doubt about that. Mickey Hart was obviously in charge of the Louth under-20s for a good couple of years along with the senior team. So yeah, no, fair play to that. Dublin is great, says this game should be the main game. Yeah, look, arguably maybe Dublin and Offaly should be the the precursor. But there we go. Yeah, like I mean, as you said before, Louth, like 20 goals they've actually scored in in both league and championship so far this year, which is an incredible statistic. Like they're averaging 2 goals per game. I think Sam Mulroy is obviously the main man there, but you've got Kieran Downey, Kieran Keenan looking very strong as well. Haven't seen too much of Darren McConnell this year, but like Louth are coming in very good, and you feel like for the progress of Louth football, they should win. But at the same time, Kildare do have talent in their like as you said, they nearly beat Dublin at this stage actually last year in the Leinster semi-final. Who would have thought a year later they'd be going in as big underdogs versus Louth? But that's just really how far Kildare have fallen since then. So I mean, but they do have great players: Dara Kirwan, Daniel Flynn, Jimmy Hoyland. Kevin Feely's obviously been in extraordinary form as well. So you feel like Kildare can do it, but we just haven't really seen enough of it. Like,
dead right. I've had Kevin on my own podcast a few times, and you've had him on your thing before, so you want to give him the visor, but he's great football there, But Niall Kelly on the square and whatnot, and the money there. So Kevin Flynn getting that red card was, maybe it wasn't good and stuff like, and you have Owen Doyle and whatnot, Shea Ryan and Ryan Burke, like, so they've great defensive footballers, stuff like, and they can definitely minimize Sam Mulroy score. They're not going to keep him quiet, I think, let's get that out of the way and stuff like. It's just, getting, but I think, collectively they might have slightly better than Louth attackingly, so just try and, outscore them and stuff like. But, if they do get beat by Louth, my initial thought is, sometimes you need I think sometimes when you're a county that's massively underperforming and you so much potential to be better, sometimes you need a hit rock bottom for it to be a wake-up call and people to restructure everything and rethink everything. Because you look at Derry, obviously Division 4 champions in 2019, how they rechanged everything, whatever, except if they had to get Conor Glass back from Australia and stuff and whatnot. So they definitely need to get that kind of, I definitely look at a team like that there. Like, so I think next year is going to be the most make or break year in Kildare's history. But I think, they just need to get a lot of things there. But, they're one of the great... We talked about Louth's under-20s there, and I know Louth fans are getting excited. But, the Kildare under-20s who won in 2018, we haven't really seen too much of the Offaly team yet, who we'll get on to later, who won it there. Tipperary had one good season out of like 15, and now they're the worst team in Ireland. So you just look at, how many teams come through youth and stuff like. So seriously something happened there. But I think, I don't know if Glenn Ryan steps aside and whatnot, do they maybe get Davy Birkin from Roscommon? Because obviously he's maybe under a bit of pressure there and relive the spirit of 2018, because it worked for Donegal, keeping Jim McGuinness as manager from when we won Ulster in 2010 from the under-21s and we lost All Ireland final. So you sometimes just need that connection between youth and whatnot. Like, and I know those county board fallouts and stuff like, and we were there last year, but it doesn't matter anymore. Like, so sometimes, you need to take the bad days to appreciate the good days. But I still think, just on recent form alone and stuff like, and Louth are just, it's one of those when talent doesn't work, hard work beats talent. And I think Louth just ultimately are more hard-working team, and that ultimately would make the difference at this stage.
Yeah, like I think if this was even in the balance going down the home stretch, like you'd fancy Louth to have enough to get over the line. They're going to be by far the more confident side. Talent wise, like they're probably very similar, very even. You could actually argue maybe Kildare are the more talented team in terms of natural footballers. But the work that's obviously happened with Louth, like I think clearly they've got their structures absolutely spot on, because underage, as we're saying, they're going very strong there. Leinster final last year, and look, obviously in the Leinster final, I don't think anybody will give them much of a chance against the Dubs, but at the same time, back-to-back Leinster finals will still stand as a good achievement for Louth, and it will have two Dublin men potentially in the Leinster final in terms of managers as well, which will be an interesting one there. So yeah, I'll go with Louth as well to come through by 2 points, and then the last one, Dublin against Offaly in Croke Park. We'll be at the game on the hill, so should be exciting stuff. But you've had some mad predictions throughout your time on this channel.
I know I'm not going there, not going anywhere near Offaly. I thought it was Meath who were going to be the ones to beat there. I thought, Colin Work was bolting something, they're going the extra direction, and Dublin doesn't really play full pace at the Leinster Championship, but seeing that the way they just disposed it and stuff, like, and you know what I mean, like, and they brought Stephen Cluxton back in, and he made his debut when people were buying their tickets in punts. So that really shows, that he's been about a long. He made a year before I was born in 2001, but like I just don't know. Look, I think like look, there's obviously a bit of excitement in Offaly from the under 20 result and stuff, like, but this isn't. We're not talking about youth football games and stuff, like, this is men's football, not boys football, and I ultimately think, McNamee, age like a fine wine, going like anything, David Dempsey, great man, Keane Farrell, great footballer, they've so much individual talent and stuff like that there, and all the rest, like, and all the rest, and Cormac Egan, who was meant to be their star boy, he was meant to be their everything, he's gone and followed the small ball and stuff, like, but looking at them as one of the favourites for the Joe McDonagh and stuff, like, and it probably was the right choice at the end up, but when it comes to score difference, I'm just gonna pick a random number between 15 and 20, and we might move on and stuff, like. But Dublin, if that was Dublin against half pace against Meath, then I think we're quite I think it really is tough to be in Leinster County and all the rest. I think the O'Byrne Cup is the only competitive competition in Leinster football, so I think it really is tough and stuff, like. And even speaking to David Dempsey, it's always about being on the other side of the draw to Dublin to get that Leinster final and stuff, like. But I think they'll relish being in Croke Park and stuff, and I think they learn a lot against Dublin and stuff, like. So in many ways, it's a learning exercise, and how they'll be punished. They won't get the same amount of time in the ball and stuff, like. So I think there'll be something there at all rest, and I think if Declan Kelly can, or whoever can pull it out the bag, I just think that Louth just if Offaly can beat Dublin, it'll be the greatest upset in history there. But judging by the way Sligo played against Galway last year and stuff, like last week, I mean, not last year, last week, I think you just don't know what's possible and all the rest, like. But no, I really want to say nice things about Offaly and stuff, like. But once I say the Tausend Cup super competitive and stuff, like, it's nearly like the second best team in Leinster competition at this stage. 2 years into it and stuff, like. So I think they would definitely fancy their chances of making a change there, and they'd be capable of being Kildare Louth, but So yeah, and Dublin, but still they've kept on, McCarthy, they kept on Cluxton and stuff and all Essex, so they've definitely kept a lot of the old school and stuff, like. So, but they're not exactly in transition next year, but next year they're a team in transition, so who knows what could happen and stuff, like. But yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, like, I suppose it was good to see Offaly get the win versus Laois, but I think, like, Laois were the side with more confidence. They might have been able maybe to give Dublin a slightly better game, albeit, look, I think it's going to end up with the exact same outcome. But yeah, Keith O'Neill obviously back on the side, 1-3 the last day. Obviously Rory McNamee with a point, Jack Bryant with 3 points in that win versus Laois as well. Dublin is great here, says Dublin 520, Offaly 19 points. Gavin says if Offaly were looking to Division 2, they could make it competitive, but it's the fact they were closer to Division 4 this year, I'd worry. Yeah, and you're going to have Brian Fenton back in the Dublin side as well. Obviously, he was suspended the last day, so he'll be coming back in. It will be interesting to see, like, what team Dublin actually go with, though. Like, will Cluxton actually play? Because he actually did, like, some of his kickouts actually went a little bit astray against Meath, and he didn't actually have his best game overall. Mick Fitzsimons was very impressive. James McCarthy obviously came off the bench. So you just wonder, like, Dublin can probably put any team out here. So, like, do they even need to play Cluxton? Like, maybe you give Comerford or David O'Hanlon a run out here.
Yeah, I think it's very disrespectful and stuff, because Cluxton had a sabbatical for 2 years and stuff, and then Comerford and O'Hanlon was manning the ship in many ways, and then all of a sudden no Cluxton's Mr. I'll be back and stuff like, and I understand, Cluxton, he's on 9 All-Irelands. He really wants to get 10 All-Irelands and stuff like, and it just, it really does, or see that, I don't know, like, I think he's a great, for stuff that can maybe, he might want to, stick around another few years and break the championship record of being the oldest outfield play, the oldest player of any position in championship history was 46. So maybe he wants to break that record. But I don't know.
He'll
Like,
be going until he's 50, probably.
50, you know what I mean, like, and yeah, I don't know, like, but in a few years time with the way he's going, when they build a team of robots to try and beat Dublin and stuff, I say he'll still be there. But I don't know, like, I think just experiment and stuff, like, I don't think Dublin have too much to lose, and if they did have them overall shocks, they've a break to the All Ireland Championship and stuff, and I don't know, like, it'd be somewhat of a crisis, but I think and I think nearly Dublin fans would I don't speak for Dublin fans, but I think at some point you would nearly like to see a different team go and win Leinster at this stage, just to spice it up a bit, or you want to see other teams be miserable.
Yeah, I don't really know, to be honest with you, because I know whenever the day Dublin comes that they do lose, it's going to be like a national holiday or something in Leinster. Do you know what I mean? Because it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened since 2010. So if we could lose to a Wicklow or a Carlow or something like that, I'd be very happy. But if I had to pick now, but if losing to a Meath or a Kildare, geez, I don't know how, if even Louth, to be fair, don't know how I feel like that. But to be fair, we don't really have to worry about that. And we probably won't have to worry about that anytime soon. But yeah, no, look, it probably wouldn't be the worst thing to see another side in Leinster win it. But look, I can't. Obviously, you can't see it happening. I can't see it happening either. Like, there will be some Offaly players out there, and this is just clutching at straws, that beat Dublin at under 20 level a couple of years ago. Now, like, there won't be too many of those Dublin players out there, in fairness. Maybe one or two might be out there, like maybe Lorcan O'Dell or Ross McGarry. But like, I suppose that wasn't even in Croke Park. I think that was in Tullamore. So, like, you can't even. I don't even know if you can read into that, to be fair.
Wicklow and Longford beat Dublin with Desi Farrell's youth teams, right?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Wicklow nearly beat Kildare, but come on. Are they are they all of a sudden, at All Ireland stage, are they, really run the roost and stuff? Our teams fearing Wicklow and Longford every week, unless you're Waterford or Tipperary, I don't think you'd fear either team, So I think, there's definitely it's but if Offaly can prove me wrong and stuff, I would definitely give them my full backing and stuff and all the rest, and this could look ridiculous and stuff, I think, Offaly are responsible. Obviously, we were saying that about Kerry in the 1980s, and what team stopped them? Exactly, yeah. But I don't know. Like, unfortunately, most of that team, are well past their sell-by date, so I don't know if we'll see that happen. So, I'll give them the full benefit, but if they do one, then I don't know, like, well, I'll nearly think, you'd nearly, I know you don't really do forfeit challenges in this, but you nearly would do one just for a non-Dublin team to win Leinster. But yeah, I think I just can't see. But it's great. But they could give a good run at the Taoiseach Cup. Great team and stuff like that. I think they're bold and stuff like that. And obviously, they could really win it for Liam Cairns. It'd be brilliant if they won the Taoiseach Cup for Liam Cairns. A man who's sincere work, and he was an advocate for the Taoiseach Cup for the small teams and whatnot. And whatnot. Like, and I think he'd be looking down with great pride if they could do it and stuff like. So yeah, we'll see about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that'd be the main thing for Offaly, if they can keep the score down as much as possible, just so they have a bit of confidence going into that Taoiseach Cup. But yeah, we're both going with a very comprehensive win there for Dublin. Before we finish up then, in terms of player of the week, bet of the week, I mean, there aren't really any outside bets of the weekend you could probably really go for. But player of the week, and if there's going to be a shock, where do you think it could happen?
Armagh Armagh to finish against Down with 15 men. That's it. That's the shock of the week. Armagh finishes the game with 15 men.
There we go.
Is that a good enough shock? Are you happy enough with that outcome?
No, yeah, I think I'll take that. I mean, will Down finish with 15 men as well? That'd be interesting to see. Donegal, Tyrone, will there be 15 men finishing there? I'm not totally sure.
Why don't we go all out and say both Ulster games will finish with 15 men on each side? But we'll see. We'll go that there, and if that happens, then that's my wild prediction for the year done.
Here we go. In terms of player of the week, what would you be thinking?
Player of the week. Obviously, it's tough. Like you'd want to go Sam Roy would be certainly one there. Joe Goose and the Tyrone side and stuff like we know everything there. We have Keelan McColgan's back for Donegal. You wouldn't take it off him, and Armagh Down. Rian O'Neill, Connor Turbot. Blaine Hughes has looked solid in nets. Dublin, I don't know. Like, if Evan Comerford or David O'Hanlon give a good performance there, but they're not really guaranteed to play. Like, so if I would have to go approach there, I'd go safe and just say Samuel Roy.
There we go. Yeah, I think if I mean, look, you could pick a handful of Dublin players. In fairness, so maybe I won't pick a Dublin player, but I'd probably go with Oisin Gallen, to be fair, for Donegal. I think if Donegal are to get over the line, I think he'll have a big game, in fairness. But yeah, look, I think that very much wraps it up. That's the predictions for the weekend's games. Yeah. Make sure to check out GA Zone as well, of course, when everyone gets a chance. And anyone who's tuned in, if you could hit the like button and subscribe, that'd be very much appreciated. If you're listening on Spotify or any audio podcast, make sure to give it a rating as well. Helps the channel grow. So, cheers, Patrick, for coming on, and we'll speak to you all again.
Right, okay.